In the headlines, President Buhari meets with Tinubu Adamu ahead of presidential campaign flag-off. 3 killed as troops neutralize 2 fleeing bandits in Kaduna. Domestic airlines ask court to terminate federal government Ethiopian deal. And on the international scene, more than 90 DR Congo refugees flee to Rwanda as crisis deepens. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari returned to Abuja after a 14-day routine medical checkup in London, the United Kingdom. While in the UK, Buhari met with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace, using the opportunity to congratulate the monarch on his ascension to the throne. He had said the reason for his visit was to discuss the diplomatic and trade relationship between the two countries. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, on Sunday met with President Muhammadu Buhari. Tinubu was accompanied to the meeting by APC National Chairman Senator Abdullahi Adamu. The meeting held hours after Buhari returned from a 2-week medical vacation in London. The president's official jet touched down at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, around 7 p.m. on Sunday. While opposition parties like the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party have since launched their campaigns for the 2023 elections, the ruling party is yet to officially flag off its presidential campaign. And with that, we move to politics, where former chairman, Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Dr. Olajide Adeniji, has called on politicians not to overheat the polity ahead of the 2023 elections to allow for a peaceful transition. Appearing on Trust TV program Daybreak, Adeniji further stressed the need for all stakeholders to work towards changing the fortunes of Nigerians.
Very cohesive family. There is no family, there are no quarrels. What matters is how you solve the quarrels. And whatever you think is happening in PDP is under control now. Well, that is what you believe. When you are constructing a building, people will not know the effort that you have put in the foundation. But when they see the building, everybody will just be clapping. They don't know the soil structure, they don't know what you are putting, the kind of reinforcement, the kind of concrete that you are putting in. Until the building begins to rise, then you will know that something is coming up. PDP is doing work. We want to salvage Nigeria. There is no pride that is too much for us to drop to make sure that Nigeria makes it. And I want to assure you, what is happening now, the whole Nigeria will clap for PDP as the only democratic party. You know, PDP is the oldest party in Nigeria. It's the only party that since 1998 we are still PDP. Others are coalition of different interests. At times, journalists, I don't know how to rate you. A lot of things you hear, it's just, some are fallacy. Making fresh demand about, we have to share something geopolitical zone. First and foremost, our principal, the presidential candidate, is a nationalist. There is no way he will appoint service chiefs and all of them will be from one religion and all of them will be, it is not possible. So it's like preaching to the converted. When you are demanding that all the service chiefs will be shared equally, that is what the man is. And if you remove that one, the vice chairman from the North Central takes over. If you say the 3 of them should go, the deputy national chairman South takes over. We cannot have an acting national chairman from the South and national secretary from the South, which means both the accounting officer and the approval officers are from the same zone. So any reasonable person will not talk about, are you resigning now?
presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, says there might not be a clear winner for the 2023 presidential contest in the first ballot. Kwankwaso, who said this while featuring on Trust TV's 30 Minutes, says the NNPP is the party to beat as the dominant political parties have reached their peak and could not offer Nigerians something new.
What I'm telling you now is that now nobody is sure whether anybody will be outright winner. That's the issue now. But what I'm telling you,
but as a practical politician, do you believe that?
Yeah, I don't mind people talking about, because we are the party of the 2023. Because we are the only ones growing. Every day we receive people at all levels, including at national level. Even now we had to delay you because we had important people coming from Zamfara State and some other states in the south. So, you see, we are the party to beat. There's no question about it now. You know, people going to do fake and rigged opinion poll to suit them. Absolute rubbish.
Watch out for the full interview by 7:30 p.m. on Trust TV. Meanwhile, the NNPP has said its presidential candidate Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso will not step down for his People's Democratic Party counterpart Atiku Abubakar. The spokesman for the NNPP, Major Agbo, who disclosed this in an interview, faulted a report that northern leaders were pressurizing Kwankwaso to step down for Atiku. According to him, Kwankwaso is in the race to win, stressing that he will emerge the next president of the country. The NNPP spokesperson did not, however, rule out the possibility of the an alliance talk, which he said would be done on its terms. When asked about the update on the alleged talks between his party and the presidential campaign team of the Labour Party, Agbo dismissed the report. Moving on to security, troops of the Nigerian Army have neutralized 2 bandits while repelling an attack by the criminal elements in Kankomi village in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State on Sunday. This was disclosed in a statement by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, who also said that other bandits escaped with gunshot wounds. According to the Commissioner, attackers made an attempt to infiltrate the location housing the troops. However, the vigilant troops, in response, engaged them in a fierce gun duel which lasted for over an hour. This, he explained, resulted in the elimination of one of the terrorists who was wearing military camouflage combat gear, while others escaped with bullet wounds. The troops recovered 1 AK-47 rifle, 7 AK-47 magazines, 7 rounds of ammunition, and 5 locally made grenades from the bandits. While exploiting the withdrawal route of the bandits, 3 corpses were found by the troops. In another development, troops of Operation Forest Sanity conducted clearance patrols along the Gwagwada, Chikun, Serkin Power axis, stretching from Chikun local government area to nearby interstate boundary areas. According to the report, contact was made with terrorists on a high ground ahead of Kafeyo. 1 terrorist was neutralized and an AK-47 rifle recovered. Furthermore, 2 terrorists fled on sighting the troops, leaving behind their motorcycles, which were recovered. The troops completely dislodged several terrorist camps around Kafeyo, Dafako, Kopi, and Gadani. The national carrier project may be stopped by the court as domestic airlines have taken the federal government and its foreign technical partner and majority shareholders to court. About 8 local airlines and the association took the government to court on Friday, listing Nigerian Air, Ethiopian Airlines, Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika, and Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami as defendants. Among other prayers, the indigenous airlines want the courts to stop the national carrier deal and withdraw the air transport license already issued by Nigeria Air or to Nigeria Air by the federal government and Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. They also claimed that the firm, which served as transaction advisor for the transaction, was incorporated in March last year and alleged that the company was linked to the aviation minister. The local airlines further alleged that the ATL issued to Nigerian Air did not pass through the normal security clearance. According to them, the federal government's partnership with Ethiopian Airlines on the project will send domestic airlines out of business by opening up the domestic air travel market to Ethiopian Airlines. Moving on, as the Christmas celebrations draw closer, prices of food, stuff and other commodities have continued to soar in Kaduna market, with buyers lamenting the hike in price, while sellers of goat, chicken, turkey, as well as textile and garment groan due to low turnout of buyers. Food sellers are recording high sales despite persistent increase in prices of the commodities. Bello Musa has more.
Shopping for the Christmas is always a delight for the shoppers as they count down to the end of the year. However, the excitement that always greets the season shopping experience is absent this year for many due to economic situation in the country. Aminu Kubarachi, a shop owner who sells textile materials at Shegumi Market in Kaduna, says despite the approaching Christmas, patronage has remained low. The patronage of customers is low, unlike the previous years, when we used to start recording high sales in the month of October. Although the increase in the price of some commodities have been blamed for low patronage, other items such as gold that have remained relatively stable at Cow Market, unlike chicken and turkey, has nevertheless failed to attract patronage. The patronage of buyers is very poor. The price of gold starts from 15,000 naira upward. Chicken and turkey are very costly this year due to high cost of feed. The price of chicken starts from 2,500 to 6,000, and the turkey is within 6,000 to 7,000 and 8,000 naira respectively. Hosea John is here for shopping, but according to him, the price of commodities in the market is scary.
It's quite obvious the prices of goods are very high and you see no money in town, so the preparation is actually less because what do you pick without money?
I have a family and children. You see, all this is people used to suffering in the market, in the house, no food to eat.
But for foodstuff sellers, the story is different because despite the persistent increase in the price of items like bags of rice and cooking oil, they still record high sales.
Every day there is increase in prices of goods in Kaduna, mainly food items. Every day there is an increase in price, and there is high demands of the commodities because of the festive period. As you can see, we are approaching the month of December, that's for Christmas. So many people are coming to market to purchase goods. High sale, there is high demands of goods. People doesn't have money, but they want goods, but still they buy.
While Maharaja cited insecurity and dollar exchange rate as responsible for the hike in the price of goods, he says the price may likely increase in December unless something is done by the government. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Reading culture as one of the factors for economic growth. Do stay.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that President Buhari meets with Tinubu Adamu ahead of presidential campaign flag-off. We also told you that 3 killed as troops neutralized 2 fleeing bandits in Kaduna. Moving to other news, irrigation farmers in Katsina State are lamenting high cost of inputs, forcing them to produce below capacity. Many irrigation farmers resort to applying local manure as the price of fertilizer has gone beyond their reach. Abdullahi Ahmadi meets these farmers in Katsina, Ajiwa, and Makera irrigation sites, where a few of them are actively participating in this year's farming activities, largely due to high cost of inputs. His report.
Prices of fertilizers, pesticides, and seeds are going beyond the purchasing power of these peasant farmers who have now reverted to traditional methods of farming. These farmers said they cannot afford farm implements such as sprayers and water pumping machines at prevailing market prices.
Taki maganin heshi da iruruwa.
The situation of farming is pathetic. As a peasant farmer, I cannot afford 1 bag of fertilizer. I have to resort to manure. And the president is saying we should go back to farm. I can't comprehend this. We have never received any support or subsidy. And government said everybody should go back to farm. Before this administration, we used to buy water pumping machine at 17,000 to 18,000 naira, but now it is sold between 65,000 to 70,000 naira. Most of us cannot afford it. What we do is for 3 to 4 people contribute money and buy one. However, the state government said it is making everything possible to make irrigation farming in Katsina State the most cheapest in Nigeria. The general manager, Katsina State Farmers Supply Company, Fascot, Abdu Abu Kofar Soro, said arrangements have been concluded to commence distribution of farm inputs and implements to irrigation farmers.
So now the leftover we have, we are going to include it in this year's dry season. So now the water pumps we are having now and the sprayers, we are going to augment them with that chemicals left over to distribute to the irrigation farmers for this year, inshallah.
If these assurances are realizable, farmers' confidence will be restored that the huge loss they suffered from flooding during the last rainy season will be compensated at least during this dry season farming. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Kaduna.
Lack of reading culture is one of the factors hindering economic growth and development in the country. Stakeholders at Reading Promotion Campaign in Kaduna believe that improving reading culture can help overcome some of Nigeria's challenges and accelerate development for the nation. The experts in education said this at an annual readership promotion campaign of the National Library in Kaduna. The report.
The Reading Promotion Campaign is an annual event organized by the National Library in Kaduna. The campaign is designed to awaken reading consciousness among Nigerians by way of promoting availability and use of good reading materials by all and sundry. The campaign also seeks solutions to the poor reading culture in Nigeria. In an effort to find solutions to poor reading culture for national development, stakeholders cited poor learning facilities and absence of library in schools as factors responsible.
There is a serious neglect on the government and the parents on the reading culture in the whole country. So if you go to school, like primary and secondary school, there is no library. The libraries are not there. And when you go to tertiary institutions, even tertiary, they don't have a good libraries. So virtually, we give them the opportunity. It is our failure to equip our libraries. I would say perhaps that caused all this major movement, major preference to social media.
Participants say some of the challenges confronting the nation, like banditry, terrorism, among others, can be addressed through reawakening the culture of reading.
Reading culture, if you agree with me, is the only means by which we will eradicate illiteracy, we will eradicate timidity, we will eradicate non-socialization, and we will rather inculcate the drive.
The messages, the paper presentations, and the responses and the activities exhibited by the learners is actually a very good step in the right direction.
We are now having school children, as you can see them seated, having keynote speaker, having academic paper presentation, all just was encouraging our children and the youth seated, even the parents. We are trying to encourage everybody. It is important that we should imbibe the culture of reading.
A hunter has set a trap. He was trapped in the hunter's net, objecting, I will love, to the dry of an ocean. But do we have time?
Experts believe that enhanced reading culture is a prerequisite for acquisition of knowledge and skills needed by the people in a rapidly exchanging world, serving as the catalyst for participation in social, cultural, political, and economic activities of the nation. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In what is being heralded as a huge step forward in the fight against organized crude oil theft, the Nigerian Navy has recovered a vessel suspected of being engaged in illegal crude export, measuring 336 meters in length and 60 meters in width. The very large crude carrier called MT Heroic Idun is the size of 3 standard football fields. It was accosted on the 8th of August within the Akpo offshore oil field, where it was attempting to illegally lift crude oil. Despite several arrest attempts, it somehow escaped into the open ocean, where it was intercepted and seized by authorities of Equatorial Guinea. After months of intense bilateral diplomatic negotiations between both African countries, the vessel has now been handed over to the Nigerian government. The Navy is yet to address the press on the incident. On the foreign scene, local authorities in Rubavu district have received 89 DR Congo citizens who fled from fights between the government forces and M23 rebel group. The refugees arrived on the Rwandan territory during the early hours of Monday. Fights broke out between the two warring parties on October 20 when DR Congo attempted to recapture territories that were occupied by M23. This resulted in the M23 pushing back and intensified the war. DR Congo Army has been using heavy weapons along areas bordering Rwanda. The Congolese refugees who are fleeing their home entered Rwanda through Kabuhanga border post. They are said to have come from the areas of Ruhunda and Buhumba in eastern DRC. Still on the international scene, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has arrived Kinshasa for talks with Felix Tshisekedi on the escalating security situation in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. A statement by the East African Community indicated that Kenyatta will be holding a two-day high-level consultations with Tshisekedi. According to the statement, the peace process has been re-energized to incorporate local DRC community leaders and stakeholders to bring a comprehensive solution to the protracted security situation. The meeting came just a week after the summit of EAC heads of state held a high-level consultative meeting on the peace process in eastern DRC on the sidelines of the COP27 meeting with a view of strengthening the political track. In sports, Asfar FC have clinched their first CAF Women's Champions League after humiliating holder Mamelodi Sundowns by 4-0 at Stade Prince Moulay Abdullah in Morocco on Sunday. Fatima Tagnou opened scoring when she converted a penalty in the 15th minute. The second breakthrough came for Mohamed Amine Alioa's ladies from the resulting free kick when Tagnou brilliantly teed up ready to power home from inside the area 2 minutes later. The hosts were done yet as Rady fired past Lamini to notch the third in the 87th minute before bagging the treble at the death to complete the rout in sweet revenge for the Atlas Lioness Women's African Cup of Nations title loss to Bayana in July. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.